So today we're going to talk about what we call the Crusade Module. And this is going to be the first module that our new folks are going to come to. The first Saturday practice, the goal is for them to have a better, clearer picture of what we do, why we do, kind of the bigger picture, but in a kind of a thinking behind why we do. So this is going to give you a really good idea of kind of the construction parts of our company. Now remember, you've got access to these videos, but you've also got the PowerPoint, the animation, piece by piece. You've also got the outlines, right? The pool practice. Use all the tools that you've got to get you clearer. Don't just learn the words. This isn't about a script. This isn't about you sounding like anybody else. These are resources and tools for you to really understand the company that you're building in there and the impact that you've got. Right? This is about not just the words, but the thinking and understanding behind it. So as I go through this, my goal is that you're hearing that the thinking's being explained as well as what to say and how to say it. Because, really what all of this is created for is about this concept of fight, drive, and play. This impact, this profit, these goals, these wants, right? All of that stuff, that's why we're here. The reason we're putting in this time is there's something bigger than us that we want to be able to accomplish. There's something about our life that maybe we want to change a little bit. So we want to leverage and take advantage of all the tools that we can. Right? The number one thing is, why are we doing this? What is really happening? Right? And we understand, we've heard this story, but this access gap, guys, is incredibly real. Right? The wealthy people in this country have access to the education and the ownership that they need, the financial freedom and the financial advice. There's literally programs designed and systems in place for them to be able to maintain those resources. Right? There's the not so wealthy that have the free preschool and the college grants and the opportunities and the financial support, and there's infrastructure designed to keep them supported. But there's this gap. It's like there's these walls that say, okay, the wealthy stay up here and the not so wealthy stay down there. And that middle group, right, this Main Street family group, the yous and the me's, those of us that are still working for money. Right, at the end of the day, that's about as complicated as Main Street family means. Right? If you and I have to continue to work to be able to maintain the lifestyle we want, we are some version of Main Street. Right? The concept is to be really good at some point to be able to not have to work, maybe to still work, but not have to work for money. Right? That's that premise of the wealthy. So he said, how are we going to do that? Well, this middle group has been abandoned. Right? They don't make enough money to have the support of the wealthy. They make too much money to use the resources of the not so wealthy. And it's like, look, you're taking on this world, this big bad world, 150 million people stand in that gap going, it's up to you. So we sat there and said, okay, well, they've been abandoned, there's a problem. But what does abandoned mean, really? So we sit down with somebody and say, okay, right, it's one thing to say they've been abandoned, what does it mean? Well, do most people know their debt-free day? Do they know their financial security number? They know what it's going to take to protect their family. They know what it's going to take to put their kids to college. And for most people, those are four no's. Now, if we ask, do you want to get debt-free or put your kids to college? Those answers are all yes. So how come, yes, we want to do this, but no, we don't know how? See, we've got to figure out why. Well, a lot of times we don't know who to talk to. We don't know where to get the information. The system's not designed for Main Street families to get it anyway. That's the abandoned process, right? So it's like, well, of course. So problem number one is we don't know these answers. And if we were in a financial services company, if that was our main goal, it would be enough to stop here. All we'd have to do is build better services designed to be able to answer these four questions, and we could feel like we're doing something. We could, make an impact, and we could make some money, and we could fight for our families, and we would be good. But the reality is, as a company, we try to stand for something a little bit bigger because there's something more occurring. So when we talk about the fact that this group of people has been abandoned, and our goal, what we want to do is rip the walls down. We want to say, look, we want to make sure that we provide access to Main Street families. To anyone who wants to, has a legitimate shot to create freedom for their family, to change the generation for their families forever. And if we want to do that, if that's our calling, if that's our crusade, for lack of a better phrase, then the real question isn't, why don't we know these answers? The real question is, why is it okay that none of us know these answers? Why is there no March on Washington? Why is there no bracelet? Why is there no calling sign? Why is there no telethon? There's nothing. There's no outcry. There's no outrage by the largest group of people in the world saying, man, we are in this area by ourselves and there's no one standing up for us. Right? It doesn't even seem like it's a problem. And see, that is our mission to say, look, step one, we got to identify a problem. Step two, we got to change it. So he said, well, what does that mean? Well, how many of us want to get wealthy? All of us. How many want to protect our family and get out of debt? Everyone. So just wanting to obviously isn't enough. Well, do we trust the banks to help you get wealthy? For the most part, people say no. How about the insurance companies? Make sure you're properly protected. For the most part, most people think no. How about the lenders? You think they're emotionally vested in you getting out of debt? For the most part, people would say no. So the challenge is, yes, we want to get wealthy and protect our family and get out of debt, but if we can't turn to the industries that are built to do it, there's a problem. Why? Because they literally built services designed to keep us there. The banks, 1% CDs. The insurance companies, cash value life insurance. The lenders, interest-only loans. Literally products designed not just to not help us get wealthy, but designed to keep us in that abandoned state because there's nowhere else to turn. So we said, step one, we've got to provide a different vehicle. So we said, look, we've got to be able to teach people what the wealthy think and what they do when it comes to money. How do we think about our money? How do we think about education? How do we think about ownership? How do the wealthy people look at the way the world works, and how do the not so wealthy look, and how do Main Street families look? And if there's a difference, can we learn what the wealthy do? Because if we can do what they do and know what they know, we have a better shot to accomplishing that same stuff for us. So step one, thinking. Step two, doing. So we're gonna introduce these concepts, but then we have to have a place to do something with it. Well, Primerica created tools, daily management, locking in advances with buy term invested difference, right? A debt game plan and a way to create emergency funds. We sat there and said, man, we've got to create services that can stand in the gap. If people want to get wealthy, they need to have a service where it can be provided. If people want to be protected, we have to have a service that's designed for it. If they want to get out of debt and save money, there's got to be a way to do that. We've got to be able to take the tools of the wealthy and create a way where Main Street families have access to them. Because really that's what we have to create is access, right? Access to the financial education and access to the tools that create wealth. It's that combined access that gives us the power and the strength, right? Because our conversation is no one else is coming. If we can't trust the banks and the insurance companies and the lenders, who else is coming but us? Well, who showed up for you? Who showed up for your family? Who showed up for your best friends? Who showed up and said, hey, let me put a game plan together to make sure your kids go to college and you're totally financially free and you've got no debt? No one showed up for my family. The reason I came here and the reason I got fired up and passionate about this was that with my family, we weren't dumb people, but if we didn't know the rules of the game, we couldn't get ahead. So we said, man, if no one's come for my family and no one's come for yours, by definition, no one's coming. But the sentence is, no one else is coming, but no one has to because we can't. But in order to do it, for it to be different, we must be different. A lot of times people look at Primerica and go, guys, you guys do things a little bit differently. You do it this way. Yes. Our differences are what make us special, because we can't be like the banks and insurance companies and lenders and be different. We can't provide different services than all of them and run it the same way. We can't do it. We said, man, if we really want to stand in the gap, if we really want to do something like this, then we have to approach everything differently. From the services, the products, to the distribution, to how do we do it, to the environment, to who do we attract. Everything can be different because there was no rule. So we said, number one is we're going to close this access gap. Our mission is going to be to provide the education and the tools to give Main Street families a legitimate shot to be free. Right? So that gives us something to get passionate about and excited about, to be a bigger purpose then. And then we go, okay, so this is going to be broken into two steps. Step number one, Main Street families, get them financially secure. Right? If we can provide the access to the education and the tools, then we can legitimately look at a family and say, if you follow this, we have a legitimate shot to help you get financially secure in your family. And that is a huge win. And there's lots and lots of people who are going to be exposed and connected with Primerica and our allies and our advocates. And our number one job is going to be to take this message to them and help them have a game plan to be able to have access to the tools that the wealthy have. And that's a huge impact. But there's another group of people that are going to lay in bed and go, man, I want to get free. Financially secure is good, but maybe working for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 more years just to be okay might not be what I'm passionate about. So we said, man, if we really, really want to stand and close this gap, if we really want to be able to help Main Street families, we have to create a way for them to get financially free. Because financial freedom is what separates the Main Street families from the wealthy more than anything else, is the ability to do what they want with whom they want in any fashion and style that they want, because they have the money and the resources to do it. And if we're going to build a financial freedom system, then we have to provide access to something else, right? At the end of the day, if we provide access to financial freedom, right, the opportunity and the capacity, the time and the money, if we want both, then we have to provide access to ownership. Because in American business, the ability to have an income that comes in when we're not there is step one to security and freedom. The opportunity to be able to increase our income and have it grow, those are the components that we need to get free. So if we really want to stand in the gap for Main Street families, we really want to close this and rip down the walls, we have to provide a path to ownership. For it to be different, we must be different. This ownership role is so critical in what we're doing. So we said, okay, step one, if we want to provide access to the financial freedom for the opportunity and capacity, and so we're going to do it via ownership, now what if we took the ability to provide the education, the tools, and we put them together? What if we built a company, an ownership opportunity for people by providing the educational tools that Main Street families need? We could literally be created in the industry, in the area that we're helping, so it allows us to really help this area and this group of people at a 2, 3, 10, 20, 50 times rate. Because the ones that want to get financially secure, we provide the education, the tools. The ones that want to get free, we give a path to ownership that they can build by leveraging that out and being able to help more people get financially secure. It allows us to solve for both problems. We're an access company. We want to help folks get financially free. The people who want to get free, we want to get them free. The folks that say, man, I want to get financially secure, we have the education, the tools to be able to do it. For it to be different, we're going to be different. We're a different company, but it allows us to make a huge impact. See, guys, this is about an opportunity to do it. So the question is how? These are great ideas. They show up nice, but how do we actually do it? How do we pull this off? Well, we do it by a partnership. See, we let Primerica be the experts in financial services. They're a manufacturing company. They build amazing products and services designed specifically for Main Street families. They said, man, there's thousands of people right now waking up in Atlanta, Georgia saying, man, how do we make it better? How do we make it stronger? How do we make it cleaner? How do we make it crisper? How do we do it? And that's their job, is to build that. But what it does, it allows us to be able to leverage the products and the compensation. It allows them to build the financial services company, and it allows us to benefit from it, but we don't have to necessarily be the experts in financial services. Now, if you're passionate about that, fantastic. If you know a lot about it and you love it, fantastic. But what if you don't? What if you just like helping people? What if you like this idea of being able to change people's lives, but the idea of co-insurance or reinsurance or standard deviations don't get you up at night and all fired up? Great. We've got a backup, we've got a Primerica office that says, man, they've got that taken care of. Because ultimately our job is we need a path to ownership. We need a path for you to be able to build a company, because that's the only way to get financially free. So the question becomes, if we're going to build a path to ownership, how do we really do it? And we're going to do it through a distribution model. Here's why. If you wanted to go open up another company, what would you have to do? You'd have to go get a sign, and then go get a building, and then go hire a manager, and then go get clerks and people to go, and you have to do all of that before you make your first dollar. Well, who can afford that? Main Street families or wealthy? Wealthy, because they've got enough money in the bank. Not only then, they have to keep it open long enough to make your first dollar of profit. Well, folks like us can't necessarily do that. So we said, man, what if we take people who want to own but aren't sitting on top of $500,000 of capital and say, let's turn this thing upside down, right? What if we get somebody started, we get them learning, we get them developing, we get them understanding, they grow throughout their business to where now all of a sudden they've got success, they have a legitimate opportunity to build a company from the ground floor up. See, part-time. What if you kept the security of your job, but you made an extra $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month part-time? Would that help you get out of debt? Would that help you save money? Would that help you create some confidence and skills? Yes. But you could also develop a foundation of your company and give you the ability to transition out. If you and I had $500,000, great. Maybe we would, but most of us don't. But we might have a job that we like, that we do, that we enjoy, and there's a group of people, and we can continue to do that and learn something else and let Primerica be the experts. Now the challenge is I'd never been in business before, and a lot of us hadn't. So he said, man, if we're going to do this, let's build a back office distribution support system where now all of a sudden I don't have to be all that things, right? How do we retain clients and associates, right? How do we maintain the ability to train and duplicate information so it can be consistent, right? How do we build expansion on a national level? How do we do all of that stuff? If folks like us aren't experts in business, right, if we're responsible for all that, that's going to potentially slow us down. But we said, man, if we could leverage the experience and the resources of things that have already been done, and their job is to provide the back office support system, what we could literally do is build a strategic partnership where we're building our company. Primerica is building the financial services, the back office is building the support systems, and together we have a legitimate shot to do something real. See, guys, when we talk about this, why are you here? Why am I here? Who are we attracting? Look, I never laid in bed saying I want to be great at investment sales. Heck, I didn't want to be in sales at all. But there's a lot of times where I'd go, man, I want to do something big with my life. I love this idea of impact, but I also want to be profitable. I want to be able to take this from an and or. I don't just want to make an impact or make enough money for my family. There's got to be a way to do both. And so we said, man, what if there's a way? So we said, man, how many of us have ever laid in bed and said, man, if I could find something that's real, find something that's credible, find something that's in alignment with who I am, where I could make an impact, and I could fight for my wants. Man, if I could find something that did all 5 of those, I would do it. Well, Primerica's created more six-figure earners, more millionaires than any company in American history. This isn't something we're trying to figure out. We literally stand in the gap. Main Street families have been abandoned. This access gap is real, and we are going to close it. What we do is incredibly credible. We build our business through strategic partnerships by making sure that we build what we call allies, advocates, and associates, making sure that the people in our lives understand and support what we're doing. This is about building a group of people passionate about making a change and being able to do something real. We get to make an impact because no one else is coming. Then we can build a company, whether it's you and me one-on-one, and we could help 3 or 4 or 5 families, or we built a team of 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 or 1,000. And if we just help one family, we made an impact. If we had a team of 1,000, we can make an impact. It's about the scale that we want. And then the last one is, this is about you and your family. Primerica's got the resources and the tools. We got the track record and the experience. This is about you and me being able to figure out what you want and then going after it. See, fighting to make an impact for our family and potentially for the world. Driving to be profitable, to make sure that we have a company that supports but our family's taken care of, and playing to win. To say, man, today matters. What we're fighting for is a big deal, and I want to know that it counts. I want to be able to show my kids that if you fight for something special, great things can happen. I want to show the people in my lives that I'm going to deliver, that I'm going to show up and I'm going to get it done, that we can look each other in the eye and say, man, we can count on each other. We can do more together than we ever can apart. And there's a place for everybody. This isn't about convincing everyone to do the business. This is about understanding that we're on a mission to do something big, and there's a place for everybody somewhere. Guys, this is our crusade. This ability to stand and close this gap. This ability for you and me to build something for our families. Whatever that is to you, there's a place. There's a place for you to fight. There's a place for you to drive. And there's a place for you to play. We do that, real things can start to happen. Now again, one of the things is, right, to remember this presentation reflects the opinions of the speaker, not those of Primerica, right? We understand this presentation is designed for internal training, right? This is for us. This is about what we're doing and why, right? We want to make sure this isn't about going out and distributing. These are tools and resources for you to be able to be ahead of the curve, to be able to know what it is that we're getting accomplished and to use the resources we want. Use this as well as strong as you can. I'm telling you, great things are happening. We're going to do something special together. So we'll see you soon.